Hi there, everybody again. Session 3 on command stuff. We're going to talk about compliance. Basically, once you've created an opportunity, how you get documents in there, what you should do for compliance, and how that looks in the background of the actual opportunity details. So it's a little bit. You're going to see a little bit of the dragging the opportunity through the phases, but for all intent and purpose, we're going to talk about the document upload. Some DocuSign integration and some abilities that we have currently in DocuSign. This may get a little technical, a little bit touchy at times. I'll try to keep it simple enough that everybody can follow along. If you have any questions, definitely reach out and let me know. We'll work through it. Thanks. All right, I'm going to dive. Okay, so here we are in my opportunities screen. I'm in my listings. I'll show you real quick. I got here listings, and then clicked on the cultivate here. This is a listing I just created in session 1, I believe. So I just clicked on it. The background details right here. So this is a listing. So as soon as it's actually live, it'll have a KWLS. I'm going to treat it right now like it's in the cultivate stage. I'm just gathering stuff for it and sending information. So as I move it through these stages, I have checklists, but it's not until I get to the active phase that I actually have documents required. So I'm going to click into this active phase, click into the item here, and show you where I'm at. So these tabs up here are specific to this opportunity: details, documents, offers, all that kind of good stuff. So documents right here is where I would put the documents. I'm going to click real quick. You see here, I've got a bunch of documents kind of stuff here. Over here, listed, under contract, closed. So listed is the same as active, and then under contract and closed. So these correspond to the 3 different phases of this process. So these are the 3 that have documents required. So your cultivate and appointment phases don't have any documents required. So it's just your listed, under contract, and closed. If you have a custom folder that you want to create, something for additional documents that are not specifically required to close, this is where you create that custom folder. I hope that lit up some people. So this list right here are all the documents that are required to close. Now, of course, you don't have to have 4 MLS updates, but if you have 4 of them, you got 4 slots to put them in. Same thing with addenda and all that kind of good stuff. So these are those: listing, contract, agency, that kind of such. If you have some, a disclosure explanation from your client or some email transcription or something like that you want to add to the file for just for record keeping purposes, but they aren't necessarily a required form, then this is where you put that. You hit this new custom folder, you create that. Let's call it client communication. And you create that folder, and there you go. I've got a client communication folder, and I can add documents directly to that folder. So, how do I get an actual document in here? First, understand that it's getting documents in here. There are no documents that exist in here, so I can't create a document in command. This isn't an actual document, it's a bucket. So this is where you put stuff. Right over here, it's got this add file. I can hit that add file button and load it in there. So I can drag and drop a file, or I can click this and actually pull one in from my computer. So if I were to do that, I can just go get, let's say there's a quick PDF, and I upload that, and there's my document there. Same thing, agency, MLS info for spuds, lead-based paint disclosure. Notice that right below them it has kind of, this is required, agency is required, MLS simple form required, spuds required, lead-based paint disclosure is obviously conditionally required if it was built prior to 78. So I don't expect the conditionally required things to be filled up. I do expect the required things to be filled up. And obviously these down here that are optional are optional. May not have an update. So that's a quick and simple way to add a file. I can drag and drop a file onto it if I need to. Drag from there, drop it in. I tried it. There it is. Hit assign. There's that file. Pretty straightforward. Now, my under contract, I've got a different checklist. My closed, I've got yet a different checklist. So let's say this is a listing. So this is my listed checklist items here. I uploaded my listing contract, my agency. As you upload this, and we upload the MLS form, this thing goes live on the MLS. I should be able to assign the listing to it. So up here at the top, I've got the select from KWLS button. I can click right there, brings in my KWLS. I'm going to put in the address. I can search all listing. It's going to suck it in. There it is. I'm going to select. There it is. Now it has that listing selected. That's what's great. All right. So under contract, I've got the purchase contract. I'm going to add that file and drive it in here. Everybody kind of get that? That's pretty straightforward in adding those documents. Now, your next question may be, all right, so how do I add a document from DocuSign and get that in here? Well, that's what this button right here, it says Start a Transaction is for. If you do not have this button, that means you have not linked your DocuSign account, and you should watch the different video about how to link your DocuSign account. So let's go ahead and just stop this video, go watch that video, and then come back. So if I hit the Start a Transaction button, it's going to launch DocuSign. This is live demo, so we'll see how long this takes. Should just open it in another tab and fire right up into this DocuSign room. There you go. So you see, this room is already labeled with the address. It's got KW, so it already knows what's going on here. So this is where we need to be to start this process. From here, we have multiple ways to add a document. We can upload documents from our computer, so we can upload a PDF from our computer and just add them in and add all the fields and all that kind of stuff. That is definitely the long way to do it, and can be done. So everybody should understand that. I can just hit upload and go get a document and the blank document, and then I'm going to have to add like name, buyer name, seller name, address, all that. I'm going to have to add all those fields. So understand that. Also up here, I've got an add button. I've got more options here. So I've got my from computer. That's the same thing we did. DocuSign Forms. This doesn't have anything in it yet, but I'd be willing to bet next week it does. Then you got Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, so you can add in stuff from there. It also has this zip form edition. So this is unique. If you have a zip form account, which everybody does, who's a Arizona Realtor, everybody does, whether you've activated or not is up to you, so you can take some time to go activate it. I would say if you haven't activated it, if you don't have a transaction that you're really trying to get done in here, then I wouldn't bother, because come next week we're going to have the DocuSigns natively in here in DocuSign. If you've got transactions that you're doing right now, I would say make sure you've got zip form attached and running. So I'm going to go ahead and run this in zip forms so that you can see what it looks like to bring something over from zip form. So if I click here, it launches zip form, and it says before adding an item from zip form, you must link the existing transaction. So, and currently I had a room called lease agreement. That's of course not what I want to do. So what this is doing in the background is we have KW rooms, right? Keller Williams Biltmore Partners, you've created a room called 718 East Sac Drive. And you also have a zip form. If you have that account, then you have zip form rooms. And we're going to need to connect those two rooms together so that they can talk and we can share documents back and forth. So I want to create that link. So here I'm going to put this room in here, and I'm going to call it 718 East Sac zip forms, just so that I know. It's a listing, and this is a residential property. So I hit create. Now that I've done that, now I want to, where do I want to pull in some stuff? If I link to the transaction and that document already exists, I just created that link and I just created that transaction, so nothing exists in there. So I can't pull anything from there. So I want to pull in from a zip form library. And zip form library has all of the AAR forms. So if I click down, I've got AAR, armless, all this other stuff. So AAR forms. So there they are. Right? I've got all all the normal AAR forms that are built by zip forms. So I'm going to grab one. Just grab addendum number 1 right here and add that. So what it did is it added the ZFX, the zip form file, into my room. Notice my room here is still 718 ESAC drive, so I'm still in the KW room. I'm not in the zip form room. It just put this zip form file in here. So from here, I need to fill out this file. This file is blank, right? It doesn't have anything on it. So I have to click on it. It's going to launch my little zip forms editor. If you've been through this, this should look familiar. It's going to pull up the form and give me a chance to fill out stuff. Now, the way zip forms runs things, I can edit it straight on this form, or I have a fast fill option that just basically gives me the direct stuff without all the rest of the text. So I want to fill it out like this. I've got addendum number 1. This is originated by the buyer. The contract date of today, and yes, you will have to fill this stuff in. This will not auto-populate. It will eventually, especially with documents that are native in here, but something happens between the DocuSign command room and the zip form room that disallows that communication and that stuff to pre-populate. So I've got any agent and oh, that's it. That's all mine. That's the only people I've got in there. By buyer, I've got Bill Buyer. And then property information, address. I don't know what it's going to have in here. 78 ESAC drive. Look at that. I don't know why it found that, but it did. I think it just pulled that in from like Google or something. And then I click into this thing. So there we go. Next, we've got, this is the seller. I hit that checkbox. I can put in a date. It will date stamp it. I want my buyer to check there. All that kind of good stuff. So, one, I want to save it. I hit the save button so that I don't like shut down my computer and lose all the stuff that I just put in there. The second thing I want to do is save this as a PDF. So I'm in zip forms and I'm filling out this form, and I want it to save as the PDF so that I can actually have it signed. So if I hit this save as PDF, I want to save it to my transaction. Understand this. I'm in zip forms, I'm saving it to my transaction, it's saving it to my zip form room. So when I hit save, it's in my zip form room. Understand that? I want that to sink in. I just saved this into that zip form room, and now I can X out of here. Now, when now I'm in here, I still have the zip form document. I need to add a document from zip form, from my linked transaction, and there's the PDF that I want. That's the one that I just created. There it is. Look familiar? Pretty cool, huh? Now, I can either select it right here and choose things to do with it, or I can click on it like I just was. So if I select it right there, now I've got more options. Notice if I unselect, those options go away. So I'll select this option. This middle button right here is DocuSign. That's going to launch into my DocuSign set. So what is done is, sorry, DocuSign set is not appropriate. My DocuSign envelope. So rooms have boatloads of documents and all kinds of stuff in it, right? And filled out, unfilled out, that kind of stuff. Envelopes are what you're going to package up and send out to your client to sign. If you're unfamiliar with DocuSign, that's how it works. Clients get envelopes. It could have one document in it, it could have 5 documents in it, but they get that envelope that has all those documents in there. So I wish this were in a different order, but it's not. So first you need to add recipients. So I'm going to go ahead and add an email address. I'm going to put in me. I'm a need to sign or need to view, receives a copy, all that kind of good stuff. This is where you can put in recipients as far as like you can put it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can put them in order so it knows to go to the first recipient. So if I put in a next recipient is, let's say it's Eric Knight. There we go. And I put him in there at 2. Then it's going to go to me first, and then when I'm done, it's going to go to Eric. That makes sense? Okay, so I backed Eric out of there just so that in this demo process, I don't have to wait on anybody else to sign something. You can see exactly what happens. So now that I have one person involved here, I've got my addendum, so I'm going to hit next to get me into the actual DocuSign process to get it get everything lined up on there. So pretty straightforward. You've got all your tools you can add in from over here. So at the bottom here, so you could add some extra text fields or date fields or something like that if you didn't finish it quite in zip forms. That would be fine. I'm just going to add the signature down here at the bottom. I'll put that there. Right over here, it's who you're assigning it to. I only have one person, so it defaults to just me, and that's it. And then basically from there, once I've added all of my initials and all my signature spots, so let's say I have an initial spot right up here too. I just want to initial that. So I've got those two there, and I hit send. There you go. It sends that out, and now it's going to sit here and say, waiting for others. This is the old one that I had with one other, but we're going to show this one here. So I'm going to show what it looks like as far as mine, my side. So I've got this, please DocuSign. I'm going to click on review document. It's going to load me in here. I'm a new person. So start, initial, yep, sign, and finish. So that's what your client sees, basically. It would want them to create their own account, of course. They can hit no thanks. And they're done. Cool, huh? Probably got an email saying, hey, somebody signed something. There we go. If I go back to my envelope here, it says completed. And I go into my documents, and it's got me an addendum completed and signed. So notice both of these say signed. Let's see which ones. It's going to be one of these two. Ta-da! There I am. That one doesn't have my initial on it, so I click on this one here. That one's got the initial and the signature. So there it is. I have these two documents sitting here that are signed. They say addendum 1. You know what I can do? I can click here, and I can probably rename it. It's named all this. Initialed and signed. Save. There we go. Addendum 1, initialed and signed. It sits right there. So we did all that to get this signed document in DocuSign. Now when I go back to command, here is I needed, that was an addendum, right? So I've got an addendum right here. I want to add a file. So now I'm back here. I'm in this 718 ESAC drive file. That's what this room is. They are connected to each other. So if I go down here to addendum and I hit add file, now I've got another option. I've got a DocuSign button right here since I've connected it. When I click that DocuSign button, I've got all my documents in there that I can add. So here's my initialed and signed addendum, and I hit assign, and it sucks that document right on over. So there it is. From here, I have some other documents in my listed folder. I've got this document here. Until I submit this to my Market Center, I can remove. So if I screwed up a document, I can remove it. I can hit remove. I can print it straight from here. I can go reassign it, whatever. I can manipulate stuff. As soon as I hit this submit to MC, it's going to submit it submitted my under contract there. So now I don't have a remove, I have a replace. So the difference is remove actually takes the document out and puts a new document in its place. Replace just shifts the existing document in the background and puts a new document up front. So we would have a version history of the documents that sit there. So if you do have like, oh crap, I uploaded the completely wrong document, then you take it out altogether. If I send you back a document that is missing an initial, you go get the correct initial. Now you can hit this replace, put the right document in its place. I still have evidence of the previous document and the new one with all of the correct stuff on there. So that's an important note for after the submission. Now notice that I'm in the under contract folder. I submitted one in here. My listed file is still open. So I'd have to go to listed, and I want to submit these guys here. I hit submit to Market Center. And there it is. Submitted. Shows that status submitted, tells me at what time, what date, all that kind of good stuff. These now, I can only replace them, I can't remove them. Alright, so from there, on the Market Center side, I would go in and offer a compliance and review them. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here. I will be right back. And here we're back in my opportunity screen. I'm going to pull up this opportunity, go into documents, and there we go. So after my broker has taken a look at this, I can see that I've got some different colors and some things right here. So here we go. So it looks like the listing contract was approved, and my agency or whatever was in here is rejected. Right here it tells me what it is. I'm missing initial on line 7,864. Thanks, because I'm congenial. So that should tell me what to do. Now I should go fix that and then replace it with the corrected version. Does that make sense? Alright. So there we are on the adding documents, getting documents in here, submitting them, all the way through closed, adding some extra documents, and all of that kind of good stuff. We will, in another session, we're going to talk about offers and how to accept them and compare them. The backside isn't as robust yet on that. It's not a fully set deal, so it might just be a tease, or you should come in or try it out or watch some videos on Connect. So that's it for this. I know that was a longer session. But at least I hope you were able to walk through there and see that we can add documents from all kinds of different places. So holler at me if you got any questions. Get in there and submit some things. I want to see some of them in the backside just so that we can get things rolling. Again, thanks a lot for your patience, and I really appreciate you learning this new system with us. It's a process, and it's awesome that we're a real estate company that can really do this kind of work. So thanks a lot. Chat later.